All right, we're about to conduct a hearing in this matter. I do not have the physical file in front of me, and so I have to toggle back and forth between the electronic file and our Zoom file. And I've just experienced a difficulty. Let me see if I can correct that. All right, I'm ready to proceed. I will call cause number 1355 for the case styled in the interest of Case Engage Law and Bryson Ty Law. These are children. This is a hearing on the original petition and suit affecting the parent-child relationship filed by the Attorney General's office. Before calling for announcements, let me make a couple of announcements on the record. First, this case is being heard by remote video teleconferencing technology. We are using the Zoom protocol for the virtual hearing. We're doing so in order to comply with Texas Supreme Court orders and directives from the Office of Court Administration. This hearing is also being live streamed on the court's YouTube channel to provide access to the public to court proceedings, since in-person access is denied by the orders of the Texas Supreme Court. Because it is electronically, the hearing is being conducted electronically, I need to further announce that all parties are prohibited from recording any portion of this proceeding in any manner, electronic or otherwise, with the exception of the court's official court reporter, who is taking the transcription of this case just like he would do if we were in an actual in-person hearing. Now, all of that said, I call upon the parties to respond. Ms. Scott, on behalf of the Attorney General's office, are you ready to proceed?
Present, ready, Your Honor.
And oops. There. Next, call upon, is it Rika Joe Copeland?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
And then are you Eric Justin Law?
Yes, sir. I do have a recording on my phone, but it shows that it's not active.
Okay. As long as it's not recorded, the let me explore that just a step further. Anyone violating the court's order is subject to being held in contempt of court. That said, Mr. Law, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Scott, you may proceed.
Your Honor, we filed this original petition and suit affecting parent-child relationship, and I'd like to cause my first witness, Enrique Copeland, please.
All right. Ms. Copeland, raise your right hand and be sworn as a witness. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. You may proceed, Ms. Scott.
Ms. Copeland, are you the mother of Kaysen and Bryson Law, the children that are the subject of this suit today?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are they?
12 and 13.
And are you legally married to Mr. Eric Law?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And when did you all get married?
October of, I believe it was 2013.
Okay, so that would have been after the birth of both boys, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
When they were born or sometime afterwards, did Mr. Law sign what's called an acknowledgement of paternity for each of the boys?
Yes, ma'am, for both of them.
And when did you and Mr. Law separate?
He has not resided in our house since 2017.
Okay, do you know approximately what month you ceased to live together?
I believe it was in November.
Okay. Has he helped provide financially for the children since he left the home?
Within the first year, yes, ma'am, he did. He has not provided any financial assistance within the last 2 years.
Okay. Did he send you regular payments through Walmart?
Like I said, the first year that he was outside of the home, he did. It wasn't regular; it was random whenever he had it. But within the last 2 years, he has not.
Okay. Did he give you money any other way besides through Walmart?
Not to my recollection, no, ma'am. Every
Okay.
time I had to go pick it up.
If I told you he provided Walmart receipts of payments totaling $19,587, would you have any reason to think that that number was incorrect?
Yes, ma'am, I would think so, significantly.
Okay. What are you doing for the children's medical care currently?
Since Mr. Law left the house in 2017, I had applied to have them on state insurance, and they qualified, and that began on January of 2018.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any sort of health insurance available for the children through your employment?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Now, since the time of the separation, have Kaysen and Bryson had regular visits with their father?
No, ma'am, they have not.
When is the last time they had personal contact with him?
Probably, I do not know the exact last date. It also was within that first year that he had exited the house. The last time that they had visited with him and seen him in a public place, it was not in a very good environment. Well, I guess the environment was okay. Mr. Law's demeanor was not, and that was the last time that they saw him.
Okay, was there an incident that caused you to end the visitations?
Yes, ma'am. That last time that we did meet with him in public, I'm not sure I'm not sure if he was just in a bad mood or if he was incapacitated in some form. We were actually at a truck stop in Big Spring, and it was right after one of our kids' basketball games. And whenever we were in the Subway restaurant there, a lot of truck drivers come through, and he had just started blurting out racial slurs to the other truck drivers. And at that point, I said, I think it's time for us to go. And we were able to leave without any more disruption from us, around us.
Okay, has he made attempts to set up personal visits with the boys since then?
He has tried many times, or many times he has. A few times whenever he first tried to set them up, I was more than willing to meet him in a public place in order for him to see the kids. Seemingly something would always come up. He had to work, or he would not ever be able to follow through with the arrangements that he had made for the kids.
Does he have telephonic or video visits with them currently?
He does not have video chats with them, no. Over the course of the 3 years, whenever he first left and he would have just regular phone calls with the kids, it was seemingly like if he was able to talk to the kids, that was well enough for him, as well as it was well enough for me. Like I said, for safety reasons, that seemed to be working. The older the kids have gotten, it is more difficult for them to want to visit with him on the phone. Sometimes they'll talk to him. More often than not, whenever they do, it doesn't end well. A lot of times the kids, he'll call and try to call, and I'll let them know that he's calling. They really don't want to talk to him. I don't know how to answer that. I haven't kept them from him, but they don't want to be a willing participant in visiting with him or seeing him.
And do they express to you why that is?
They are scared of him. Like I said previously, Mr. Law, there was, prior to him exiting the house, there was a long list of domestic violence situations that had occurred within our house. He also had, he has a known problem, a reoccurring problem with drug and alcohol abuse. It's my knowledge that, to my knowledge, Mr. Law recently, as in, I believe it was like in October, he had told me himself that he had been detained in Lubbock County for a situation that they wound up putting him under psychiatric evaluation for. I believe that he confided in me that he had been diagnosed as being bipolar. Since then, as recently as last week, I spoke with him, and he has told me that he is not taking his medications for his diagnosis. So just with the randomness of his attitude, actions, and his demeanor towards the kids whenever he's talking to them, it's not ever anything consistent. So yeah, the kids they're scared of what's going to happen next, even if they're talking to him on the phone. So they would rather just not have any communication at all.
Would you feel comfortable with them having visits with him, with you there present, maybe in a public place?
If it were to be in a public place, and honestly, if Mr. Law could show some kind of, I don't even know if I could even ask for it, but to where he is seeing his physician regularly and being treated for his diagnosis. That, to me, if he is not taking that seriously, I don't know, even to be in a public place with him would be scary. And it would be more for the safety of other people, but mainly my children and myself. Anyone to be around him, I would hope that he would want to continue his treatment for that, because it's been an ongoing problem I believe it's been an ongoing problem for over 15 years.
Did you all have any incidences of family violence while you lived together?
Yes, ma'am, numerous times.
And
And
were any of the incidents directed towards the children?
not necessarily toward the children. The times that the law enforcement had been called to our house, every single time they allowed me and the kids to leave for our safety. We were able to exit the home at the times that they were called.
Okay. And
But
what town do you, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What town do you currently reside in?
I live in Gale, Texas.
And do you know what Mr. Law did for a living when you all were together?
Mainly, he was a truck driver most of the time. I believe, for a good full year there, he was a self-employed contractor. But mainly, for the most part, he worked in the oil field. While we were resided in Gale, he was oil field work, and he would drive a truck.
Okay. Are you familiar with the term retroactive support? Some people call that back child support.
I'm not familiar with it, but I've heard of it before.
Okay, so it would be support for the time since you all separated until currently. Are you requesting that the court order that today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Law, do you have any questions of this witness?
Pardon, I'm not an attorney, but am I allowed to ask questions?
You are a party to this proceeding. You may ask questions.
Okay. I heard that Attorney Scott said that I paid $19,587, was it?
And your question?
Did you receive that money?
I received some money. I do not believe it to be in the amount of $19,000.
May I ask how many times have I tried to see the boys?
Like I said before, you have attempted to try to see them many times. You've made many arrangements with them, and you were not ever available at the time the arrangements were made.
Your Honor, Attorney Scott, I have witnesses to state to the fact that several occasions I've tried to go to the boys' games.
Mr. Law, let me interrupt you at the moment.
Yes, sir.
We're at the part of the proceeding where another witness has been called, namely Ms. Copeland, and she is on the witness chair, so to speak, and you may ask her questions. If you have other witnesses you wish to call after the Attorney General passes their witnesses, then you will have that opportunity, and you will have an opportunity to testify yourself if you wish to do so. But for right now, Ms. Copeland is testifying, and the opportunity belongs to you to ask questions if you have any other questions you wish to ask.
Well, please forgive me, Your Honor, Attorney Enrique, because I don't know what to say. I would just prefer not to ask any questions.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Scott, of this witness?
Nothing further from Ms. Copeland, Your Honor.
All right. Actually, Ms. Copeland, you are also a party to this action, and therefore you can ask the witness questions. You are the witness. It's a little awkward to ask yourself questions, but if there is additional testimony you wish to give, I will give you that opportunity now.
Yes, sir. I would like for the court to know that it wasn't until I got hospitalized in May, I had to stay in the hospital for over a week, that I had to seek medical assistance from the state in order for me to continue my treatment. It was at that point that the state initiated this case. had that not had happened, I would not be here today, because in a nutshell, Mr. Law at many times has offered financial assistance for the kids in lieu of being able to see them. I have declined for ensuring the safety of the kids. So I just want it to be known that if that had not been the case, I would not be here seeking anything today. The safety of my kids is the most important to me. And so as humbling and honestly discomforting as it is, I would rather ensure the safety of my kids and provide a living on my own work ethics, even if that means having to rely on the state in order to keep the safety of my kids.
All right. Ms. Scott, do you have any other questions?
I don't for Ms. Copeland, Your Honor.
All right. You may call your next witness.
I'd like to next call Eric Law, please.
Mr. Law, would you raise your right hand and be sworn as a witness? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. You may ask questions. Ms. Scott.
Mr. Law, are you the father of Kason and Bryson Law?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall signing what are called acknowledgements of paternity for both of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other children besides these two?
No, ma'am.
And where are you currently employed?
Ma'am, at the moment, I'm unemployed.
Okay, how long have you been unemployed?
Since just before the new year, just before Christmas of 2020, just about a little over a month now.
Okay. Where were you, or what kind of work did you do up until that time?
My last employment was with B&S Woodworking in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay, how long did you work there?
I believe it was about a little over 4 months.
Okay, and what was your salary there? Were you a salaried employee or an hourly employee?
I was hourly, ma'am, at $12 an hour.
Did you work full time?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do prior to that?
Prior to that, I had construction jobs. Some of them were in demolition of homes and businesses, and construction as laying pipelines for plumbing.
Okay. Approximately
Operating equipment.
how much did you make doing that?
Prior to COVID, my last construction job was $20 an hour.
And how long did you do that kind of work?
I worked for Trust Plumbing in Midland for about 6 months.
Okay, and before that, what did you do?
I worked in the oil field, but there was about a 6-month period there. I was rebuilding a classic car.
Were you doing that for profit?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long did you say you worked on the car?
About 4 months.
Were you able to sell that?
No, ma'am. I was doing it for a client. It wasn't
Okay.
my car.
I understand. What were you paid to do that?
About $4,000.
It's about $1,000 a month then?
Yes, ma'am. Well, including my, they paid for my hotel too, so.
All right. And before that, what did you do?
I worked in the oil field, ma'am.
Okay. How much money did you make in the oil field?
Well, it depends. The lowest I made was 16, and the highest would be up to probably 27 per hour.
Okay. And what was the difference there? Was
just
it
depends
different
on who I-
companies?
Yes, ma'am. Pardon. It was the different companies and the different types of employment that I did. I ran equipment and also drove trucks.
Okay. Now, how long did you do that kind of work?
I was in the oil field for probably, I'm trying to be as honest as I can, probably 10 years.
Okay. So is that your primary employment when you and Ms. Copeland lived together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, like Ms. Copeland said before, working in the oil field, I did drive a truck, and I also had my own remodeling establishment, and I worked for the city of Albany for a year.
Okay.
Albany,
What's your current status? Are you looking for work right now, or what happened with your last job?
My last job, I quit to relocate, and yes, ma'am, I've had two opportunities for employment today.
Okay. What are those?
One is with the state, and the other is with a private company.
Okay. What area of work would you be doing with those?
The private company would be a forklift operator, and with the state would be a specialist in construction, possibly a supervisor.
Okay. Are you interviewing for those jobs, or have you been offered either job?
I did interview for the forklift job, and I called as early as this morning at the state job, and they're in the interviewing process, but I have not interviewed with the state yet, Ms. Scott.
Okay. Do you know anything about the pay ranges for those? Are they similar or very different?
The forklift job is 13 an hour, and the state job is a fixed income. I'm not exactly sure on it, ma'am.
Okay. So Ms. Copeland testified that since you all separated, you have provided some financial assistance to her through Walmart. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, and I've also given her cash payments too.
Okay. How much cash have you given her since you all separated?
Ma'am, I have witnesses to at least 1,000. And I
Okay.
also
Now
have,
you've,
pardon.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also, in my quest for how much money I sent her through Walmart to Walmart, there is a payment as recently as August of 2020 for $225.
Okay. When is the last time you sent her money?
That would have been the August payment of 2020.
And have you totaled up all the money that you've given her since you all separated?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much would you say you've given?
I had 19,000, a little over 19,000 in my Walmart to Walmart, not including the fees. And then I can say for at least 1,000 that I can recall myself to total over 20,000 from 18 and 19. 2018 and 2019.
Okay, Mr. Law, now you provided our office with a copy of a Walmart pay record. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you provide that to the court or to Ms. Copeland?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, I have emailed that to both the court and Ms. Copeland. I'm not sure if either one of you have access to your email accounts right now, but I did send that to your coordinator.
All right. Are you offering that?
I would like to offer it if everyone has access to examine it.
Ms. Copeland, have you received that?
Yes, sir, I just did.
I'll give you a moment to look at it.
At the end, I do not see where it has been totaled out. From what I'm looking at, I will be honest, I would be very shocked if it does add up to the 19,000. Like I said, the first year, whenever he left, he was sending payments anywhere ranging from $500 to $800 a week of the first year that he was out of the household. Since then, it was totally random, and you can see from what I'm looking at, I can see $100 here, $118, $125 here and there. So it is, if it does can all add up to over 19,000, I'm would be pleasantly shocked at that, because I would not have anticipated that. But the majority of it, I believe, if you look, came from the majority of that came from the first year that he was outside of the household.
All right, Ms. Scott, are you offering this as an exhibit?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd offer it as State's Exhibit 1, please.
Mr. Law, do you have any objections to that being received as evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Copeland, do you have any objections to that exhibit being received as an exhibit?
No, sir, I do not.
All right, State's Exhibit, did you say 1 or A?
1.
1 is admitted.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Law, let's talk about visitation. When is the last time that you've had in-person contact with the boys?
Ma'am, it's going on almost 3 years now. And I do have a witness as to the last time that I've seen the boys. And the last time I seen the boys was at GameStop with Miss Copeland in Big Spring, Texas.
Okay, and that was about 3 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Since that time, have you made attempts to have visitations with them?
Yes, ma'am, constantly.
Okay, and what have you done thus far to try to get some visitations?
Okay, first and foremost, I've tried to get Miss Copeland to give me a divorce so that I wanted to get visitation with them. I figured I had to get a divorce in order to do so. I've asked her numerous times over the phone I've even went to her home there in Gale and talked to her about it. As recently as a week ago, she has asked me if I would, or had the boys ask me if I would come put a screen door on the back of her home. I asked her then to see the kids.
Did you do that? Did you go to the house?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. And I will not step foot on that property. I will not go to Borden County. I do not feel that it's in my best interest.
Okay, have you attempted, or do you have regular telephone or video contact?
I've always had, at Rika's discretion, been able to talk to the boys when she lets me. Used to in the beginning. We talked every night. I continued to try to be the father I was to my children from the day I held them till today.
And if the court were to grant you some sort of supervised visitation, maybe in a public place or a professionally supervised environment, would you want that? Would you be agreeable to that?
Ma'am, I would just want to see my kids, and yes, I would agree to that. She has convinced the kids that the only way they'll see me is in jail.
Okay, have you ever been in jail?
Yes, ma'am. I had 2 DWIs, and I had a couple of driving while license suspended back when I was younger.
Okay, how many years ago was that?
Let's see, the last time was over 10 years ago when I had my last DWI.
Do you have a current driver's license now?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Is there any reason that you would have safety concerns if your information, such as your address or social security number, appeared in a court order that was filed a public record?
Yes, ma'am. I fear for my safety.
Okay, and is that from Ms. Copeland, or is that from a third party?
A third party under Ms. Copeland's direction.
Have you been threatened or harassed in any way?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there anything else that you would like the court to be aware of at this time?
Yes, if it be known to the court, please. I've got a very difficult battle trying to see my kids. I believe my kids are being alienated from me. They're telling me, and I have reason to believe that they're being taught that my side of the family are all crooks and criminals, and that my side of the family does not love the kids. She has effectively convinced the boys that I have favorites, and I want that to be known to the court now that I do not have favorites. What I did with one son, I did with the other. Only 2 times have I taken Kaysen only with me to work. The 2 times in question, Bryson didn't want to go. Bryson's more of an animal lover. He's not he doesn't like the big equipment. He doesn't really care for the trucks, but Kaysen did. I'm being there. The last thing that the boys have accused me of as of late is being a racist, and I adamantly deny that. Part of the things I think are going on. I had a conversation with my boys where they said that I was calling my nieces and nephews tortillas. or I'm sorry, tamales, which is simply not true. Tortilla was a nickname from my second dad, my stepfather, to one of my nieces. We have Hispanic and Mexican heritage in my family. And also some of my sister's boyfriends were of African descent. So I heard earlier that I was screaming racial slurs at a truck stop, and I vehemently deny that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Law. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Copeland, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes, sir, I do. Eric, could you please tell everyone here what happened while you were in Lubbock and how you came about being diagnosed as being bipolar?
Without an attorney present, I reject to answer that.
You have the opportunity to have an attorney present. You have voluntarily appeared in this proceeding and participated in this proceeding. Why didn't you have an attorney with you?
As I told Attorney Scott, I cannot afford one, Your Honor. But if you want, I'm not sure if I can get one before today's over.
How are you going to do that?
That's what I was asking, Your Honor. I'm not sure I could get one before the day's over.
I'm not real sure I'm following you. Are you saying that there's just not enough time?
Well, that and monetary means.
Are you
But
asking for a court-appointed attorney?
yes, sir. I could do that.
You're not entitled to a court-appointed attorney in this proceeding.
Okay.
This is not a proceeding asking that you be held in contempt or be subjected to incarceration in any way. So it's not a court-appointed attorney doesn't exist for someone in the shoes that you are in at this time.
Okay. Okay. So to answer Ms. Copeland's question, the reason that I was in a mental ward at the Plaza in Lubbock, Texas, is because I have not seen my boys.
Ms. Copeland, you're asking questions.
Eric, is it based off of what you have told me, is it not true that the reason why you were put in the placed in the psychiatric facility was because you had seen police officers have someone pulled over on the side of the road and you got out and tried to get them to shoot you?
I did want the police to shoot me. And the reason I wanted the police to shoot me is because of a conversation that I had with my sister about you. And again, it was because I have not seen my boys.
Eric, I would like to ask you another question. If anyone else were around our children and displayed the kind of activity and demeanor that you have toward them, would you allow those people to be around our children also?
Explain what demeanor you're talking about, Ms. Copeland. Because I love my kids. I love our kids.
If you had concern that whenever our children were with someone else, that they would randomly get out of the vehicle behind a stopped police car and try to get them to shoot them up, would you allow our children to go unsupervised anywhere with those people?
If anyone did that, no, I wouldn't want my kids there, but I didn't do that.
Thank you. That is all. That is all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Copeland, you, as I say, you are a party to this action and you can ask yourself questions, which is difficult to do. Therefore, you can provide any additional testimony at this time if you wish to do so. Now, you've already been sworn in, so you can give testimony.
Okay, may I give testimony, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I make no bones about it. I've told Attorney Scott, I was admitted into the Plaza Covenant Healthcare System in Lubbock, Texas. It was not that I pulled up behind a cop car that had someone pulled over. It wasn't anything like that. I wanted to commit suicide because the last time, and coincidentally, other than the August payment that I believe was what I believe is the last time that I sent Miss Copeland money for the kids, was on Thanksgiving a year ago at 11:43 at night. My youngest son, our youngest son, Bryson Ty, I call him Little Pony. I had talked to him earlier through the day at 11, a little after 11:40, 11:42, 11:43. My youngest son and a man by the name of Bad Brad. I don't know who he is, other than that he was Rick's boyfriend. Threatened me physical harm, and I quit sending her money after that point. I also went to press charges. I called Borden County, and this is why I don't go to Borden County. I called Borden County to do a wellness check, and when the phone was answered at the sheriff's office, the gentleman did not identify himself. I thought I was talking to the sheriff. Come to find out, it was the deputy sheriff, Mr. Swift. It was a jailer after I had called Scary County. Scary County gave me the DPS's phone number. I could not get a hold of the DPS. I called Martin County because I was in Martin County at the time. I was residing there. And a jailer at Martin County called me back to inform me that the boys were okay, not Borden County and not Martin County law enforcement. There was a jailer that got back with me to let me know that the boys were okay. I took the evidence that I had and gave it to Detective Metcalf in Stanton, Texas. And I was completely honest with him, like I was with and am with this court and Attorney Scott about our tumultuous relationship. I've accepted my responsibilities, Your Honor. Attorney Scott, I have. Ms. Copeland, I have. I've since quit drinking. I haven't drank in over a year, which was part of the problem with our relationship. I've tried several times to quit drinking, to no avail while I was with Ms. Copeland. I feel I feel like I'm very anxious at the moment because I was told by Ms. Copeland that Your Honor is good friends with her uncle. The last time I had met you, or appeared before you, Your Honor, was for a temporary restraining order. Come to find out that that temporary restraining order was by Ms. Copeland's own accord and by other witness employed to get me to quit drinking. When she filed for the temporary restraining order was after I asked her for a divorce, and I got an attorney there in Scurry County. After he and I talked, we went to court for the temporary restraining order. He advised me that it would be in my best interest to file for divorce. And so I did so. And as of, I think somewhere in May of 2016, that divorce motion decree was issued an order of non-suit. I don't even know what any of that means. But I've constantly tried to see my boys, and I have been denied them. I have constantly asked Ms. Copeland to give me a divorce, and she has denied that. Her last ploy was to get my email address to send me, in her words, she had a divorce decree made up. And as I mentioned earlier, the boys are talking so hateful and vile to me over the phone, which they used to not do. She asked me for my email address. I gave her my email address for her to send me a divorce decree, and she has said she has sent it 4 times. There's never been a divorce decree sent through my email. And I honestly believe that Ms. Copeland will not give me a divorce so as to keep our children from me. Now, I don't want to make no bones about me wanting to get a divorce. I've been trying for quite some time now. But I need to be in my children's life, our children's life. I have not ever posed an intentional danger to our children. She has told the boys things that have caused them to hate me. But I draw the line. There cannot be any more of the torment and abuse that not just the boys, but myself. The boys deserve me in their life as much as I deserve the boys in my life. And I tell you the truth, I miss my kids. I miss our boys. And I know they miss me. I have conversations where I have Enrique telling them, you tell them you're going to call him 16 times tonight. And they do call me 16 times to call me horrible names. It's been so disrespectful to me. I did not raise our kids to be like that. Please forgive me for my...
We'll take a moment. Are you able to continue?
Yes, Your Honor. Uh, uh, as I told you, Attorney Scott, I told you about some of our past turbulence, at which I have had 2 reckless endangerments. Made no mistake about that. I have pleaded guilty to those, and I pled guilty to both of those charges, and have done my time for those. And I've done all the required counseling and probation times and fees, and I feel Miss Copeland is using those instances to make it look as if I'm some horrible dad. I feel she's trying to exploit a moment of mental instability in which I'm not hiding from this court or you, Miss Scott. I just got a phone call this morning from the records office at Covenant, from their records department, to ensure that Miss Copeland, and she told me that she got my medical records. I've since found that that's a lie. She does not have access to my records. I specifically told them and asked them not to release my records to Miss Copeland. I don't know why she's even calling herself Miss Copeland, because her last name's Law. I told them not to release that to ITIO Law. But when we get off here, if I can get a hold of them today, if not, I will call them in the morning to make sure that Enrique Copeland cannot get access to my records. But I want to see my boys. I want to see our kids. They need me in their life. I'm not this horrible devil that she's trying to make me out to be to my kids. I haven't seen them, and I don't understand why the DA in Martin County won't pick up the charges on Rika and whoever this bad guy is for their terroristic threats. I don't even know if Borden County has a record of that phone call. Something tells me they don't, because the last time I was in your court, Your Honor, there was records that weren't I couldn't get a hold of because they didn't have them. So
Mr.
please
Copeland.
forgive me. I'm not trying to make any bones with you, Your Honor, or you, Mrs. Scott, or even you, Miss Copeland. I just want a fair shot here.
Mr. Law, when were you in this court?
It was in 2016, Your Honor. You first traveled to Borden County.
I'm sorry, say that last thing again.
You first traveled over to Gale.
Was it with respect to these children?
Yes, sir.
And who is it that you say is Miss Copeland's uncle that I know?
Jerry Vaughn. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, sir.
All right. Tell me the name again.
Jerry Vaughn, Vaughn.
To my knowledge, I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, Your Honor, this is what she does. This is what she did. She told me that Your Honor was her uncle's good time buddy. That's what she told me. And this is the concern that I raised with Miss Scott. And again, I'm not trying to accuse anyone. I'm just telling you what this woman has told me. And also in your court, Your Honor, in your court, when she thought no one was looking, she looked at me like if I was the devil, like she's getting her way. There's an issue of psychological abuse that has been going on here. And as I told you, Attorney Scott, that there's a pattern of behavior that I'm not accusing Your Honor of being buddies or not having the ability to be impartial. That I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you what this woman has said to me in order to show what she does. She's alienated the boys from me. She won't give me a divorce for the mere fact that as long as she can make everybody see that I'm the devil and not give me a divorce, she can keep the kids from me. There's police reports in Borden County when I called them, sir, when I called them, ma'am, to ask Enrique to leave the house.
Who was your attorney when you filed for divorce?
In 2016, Your Honor. And then you even told me that my attorney was a good attorney. I actually was disrespectful in your court, but I simply said, and the grain truck, and I don't know, Your Honor.
Do you know who the attorney was?
No, sir. I know who her attorney was because I paid for her. She was a good friend of mine, Sarah F. Moore, out of Lubbock, Texas. But I can't remember the gentleman that was my attorney. But my attorney told me about you, Your Honor. He said the judge doesn't like women like this, referring to the kind of instances that I'm talking about, to the point that he took pictures of some of my belongings that she brought up there, or she threw them on the ground, and there were two teddy bears with a heart in the middle of them that said "I love you," and the way that they were placed on a bag of dirty clothes that she had brought up there, it compelled my lawyer to take a picture of it.
Do you have any other testimony?
I have a lot of filed testimony, sir, but like I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm not a trained professional. I don't know what, I don't even want to ask her questions. I just want to, I want to pay for my kids. And I want to see the kids. I just want to see my boys. I want to see our boys. I have not shirked my responsibility. And the only reason why I quit paying her any money other than that $225 the last time was that a year ago on Thanksgiving, when she had our youngest son threaten to beat me up with her boyfriend. And that's just one instance. And it was a whole different boyfriend the first time. It was her, Mrs. Copeland, and a fellow by the name of Mark Kirby was inviting me to Gale to fight, and they wanted to meet me in Odessa to fight. I asked Miss Scott if I could get a restraining order on Rika today, if we could talk to you about that.
I'm not real sure why you have not sought the services of an attorney other than, I guess, the finance.
I did, Your Honor. I did, Your Honor. And he wanted $5,000.
And which attorney was that?
A gentleman in Lubbock.
You know his name?
What was that fellow's name? It was, I think, Jeff Biggs, Biggs. And I also, whenever I left the house in 2017, we agreed to take, I took a grain truck that belonged to my family. It's been in my family. It's part of my family's history. My tools, my saddles, just my belongings. And in return, I signed over all of the property, the 114 lots, the 3-bedroom house with the 2 storage buildings and everything on it. And I agreed to pay her child support, and she agreed to give me a divorce. I have paid. She has not given me a divorce.
Okay. Mr. Scott, do you have any other questions?
Just one, Your Honor. Mr. Law, what town do you currently live in?
In Big Spring, Texas, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Copeland, do you have any other questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Eric, who do you live with?
I live with 2 people.
And who are those 3 people?
I said 2 people.
I'm sorry, who?
2 people.
And their names are?
Tracy and Harmony.
And how do you know Tracy?
Tracy's a friend of mine.
When did you meet Tracy?
About 5 years ago.
And at what point did you first reside with Miss Tracy? Dean or Mullins? I don't know what her last name is.
In 2017?
Does she also have a history of drugs?
Not that I'm aware of. The one that you call a pedophile?
Did Miss Mullins used to work at Jack and Jill Daycare in Big Spring, Texas?
Yes, she did.
And was,
And Your Honor, and Attorney Scott, I'm not going to listen to Rika spout lies, because she has said and told the boys that Miss Dean is a pedophile. It's simply not true. It's simply not true.
Mr. Law, at this moment, she is merely asking you questions. She hasn't
Yes, sir.
made any accusations. She's asking you questions. You may continue, Ms. Copeland.
do you know why she is no longer employed at the daycare?
Yeah, because she quit, I think.
Also, do you know what her criminal history is?
No,
So you have lived with her for how long?
I haven't lived with her for how long? Probably the last 3 years, probably.
Would that be directly after exiting our house?
Yes. Part of the time, yeah. I haven't resided with Tracy the whole time, no.
And what is your relationship to her?
She's my friend.
Would people who have came in contact with you and Tracy also say that you introduce yourselves as just friends?
Yeah, they know that we're friends.
Would they describe your relationship as anything else?
I don't know what they would describe it as.
Have you introduced yourselves to anyone other than being just friends?
No.
You have lived with her for 3 years and you do not know her criminal history?
I know that she had to take a background check to work at Miss Irene's daycare in Midland. And she went to work for them.
So to answer the question is yes, you do, or no, you do not know all of her criminal background.
Attorney Scott, Your Honor, I refuse to answer any more questions from Miss Copeland, because she is continuing her verbal and mental and psychological abuse, and I don't feel I should be subjected to it anymore.
Well,
I asked you, Miss Scott, about this. I asked you about this, Miss Scott.
your objection's overruled. Do you have any other questions?
At this time, no, Your Honor, I do not.
Okay. All right, Ms. Scott, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, subject to a brief closing request of state rest.
All right. Ms. Copeland, do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
Yes, sir, I do.
Who's that?
Her name is Leslie Justice.
And how are we going to call Miss Leslie Justice?
I can scoot over and she can be right in front of the monitor alongside me.
All right. You may do so.
Could you tell us?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Ms. Justice, would you raise your right hand and be sworn as a witness? Do you
Yes, sir.
solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in this cause should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
What is your relationship to Kason and Bryson and myself?
I am the boy's maternal aunt. I'm Rika's sister.
And over the course of knowing Mr. Law, have you ever witnessed any domestic violence from him?
For years, we've been aware of it. I can name numerous incidents where I personally was witness to violence in the home. That's disturbing. First and foremost, I have to say it's heartbreaking for the children, and I'm glad that they're not in that situation now. I have went in one occasion on a Saturday morning. I walked up to the house to visit the family, and I walked in to find Eric throwing cups through every window in the kitchen. I witnessed that with my own eyes. Watched him beating the cabinets with his hands bloody in front of the children were in the home. We helped get the kids and Rika and left. I have been called in the middle of the night to come to Lubbock County and pick her and the boys up in the years past before that, where she had one time a beer bottle broken over her head. Yes, I have witnessed that.
Do you remember the reason why Eric, or the reason what initiated the last time that we were in court in Borden County? Do you remember what initiated the cause for us to be in court?
We had gone through, I know that this had been going on for a long time. I honestly can't say I can remember that you had attempted to pursue getting a divorce at that time. What happened was Mrs. Moore, the primary concern with Rika pursuing a divorce is the safety of the kids.
Did it start out as a divorce decree, or did it start out as a protective order?
Started off as a protective order. And ultimately, Mrs. Moore recommended visitation with Eric and the kids in a secure environment at a juvenile detention center, so that they would have third-party supervision.
And what could you tell us where that detention center was located at? The only one that she could find
in Lubbock.
How often do you see Kason and Bryson?
Daily.
And how would you describe their demeanor?
They're happy children. They're in a good school. Borden County is an extraordinary school. They're surrounded by a community that loves them, and also family that is supportive of them. So I can say they're busy kids, just like most, and traveling for visits like that it can be difficult to schedule things like that.
Knowing Kason and Bryson the way that you do you feel like even visitation with their dad at this time would inhibit the way that they live their lives now? Would it be a hindrance to them?
I would say that supervised visitations at minimum, because of the safety of the children, and that is something that I would say, and the community would say in chorus. These children must be supervised at minimal, if that, with visitation.
Okay, I believe at that time that's all I have.
Scott, do you have any questions?
Yes,
Witness?
I don't, Your Honor.
Mr. Law, do you have any questions of this witness?
Ms. Justice, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I think I'm gonna make it. Could you tell the court what your opinion of me is, ma'am?
I believe at one time, well, even in certain aspects, Mr. Law was a very intelligent man. I think substance abuse, Eric, has deteriorated you emotionally and mentally. It is my greatest hope for you to find wellness. And I mean that sincerely.
Ms. Justice, have you ever seen me hit Rika?
I have been called by authorities.
Have you ever seen me hit Rika?
I have not physically seen you hit Rika. I've watched
Miss
Mr.
Justice,
recovery.
Miss Justice, has your sister hit you?
Years ago.
As early as you're in your grandmother's home, as early as 2016.
No, not 2016.
Okay. What do you think I think of my Kason and Bryson? What kind of father do you say I am?
I have no doubt that you love your children.
I'm asking you, what kind of father do you think I am to Kason and Bryson?
Well,
I ask
honestly, if you don't mind, at this point, Eric, you are, I can tell you that as far as being safe mentally for them, I don't know that. I can't say that in confidence that I know that it's safe for you. You know what I'm saying?
No, ma'am, I don't. Let me ask you this, Becky. What kind of uncle was I to your sons?
You had limited interactions.
What? That wasn't the question, ma'am.
You were thoughtful.
Did I treat your boys with respect, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you did.
Did I show your boys kindness, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you did.
Did I show your boys love, ma'am?
Well, if that is the way it may be defined, I could say so.
Then I have to tell you, if I showed your boys that, I guarantee you, and this court, I showed my boys that. Miss Justice, you said that you think I'm smart. Do you think I'm a liar?
I can honestly say that I don't know if you do it intentionally or not, or if you see the reality of what's going on. I really sympathize for your children the most.
Do you think I'm a liar was the question, ma'am?
It's a possibility.
You wouldn't be lying, would you?
No, I'm not. I would say it's a possibility. There's times that you've told the truth, and the truth, honestly, is bizarre beyond what bizarre truths. And then I won't say that everything you say is a untruth. However, I can't in confidence say that everything is.
Tell me one time I lied, Miss Justice.
Well, didn't you just say that you had lived with that woman since 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
But then you said you've been with her for 3 years. Is that correct?
I said I've resided with her for 3 years. I didn't tell you how
You said
long I
you
knew
were
her.
with her since 2017.
I wasn't told or asked how long I knew her, how long I
Can
have
object to
resided
that.
with her.
Sustained.
I'm sorry?
I sustained the objection. Do you have another question?
No.
All right. Anything further of this witness? Ms.
No.
Copeland? Ms. Copeland, anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
Ms. Scott? Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Justice. You may be.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other witnesses you wish to call, Ms. Copeland?
No, sir, I do not.
Mr. Law, do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
I didn't know I could. No, sir.
All right. Then all parties being given the opportunity to present witnesses and all have no other witnesses to call. Ms. Scott, do you have any final summation?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to request, based on the evidence given today, that the court make a determination regarding the conservatorship of these children, that current child support be ordered, as well as retroactive child support since November of 2017, based on the testimony given, unless any credit Mr. Law is entitled to for direct payments made. I would request that the court order that Ms. Copeland keep the children enrolled in a government health care plan and that Mr. Law be ordered to pay cash medical support for that. And I would also request that the court make findings regarding possession of and access to the children.
All right. Ms. Copeland, do you have any final summation?
Yes, sir. At this time, I plead that the court grant mercy to me and the children by denying visitation with Mr. Law at this time. It's in the best interest for their personal safety. Until Mr. Law can provide, I would hope that the court would ask him to provide where he is, continues to seek medical treatment in hopes that one day he could be a staple in our kids' lives. At this time, obviously, I believe by just his demeanor that he's presented here today, it's not in their best interest. I would hope that for himself, he would better himself and be the person that he believes in his heart that he is before he would want to be around his children, because I do not believe it would be in their best interest or their safety to see him under any capacity the way that he is today. The kids, they do not wish to engage in visitation with their dad, although I want to protect them from direct involvement in any court proceedings. If Your Honor would wish to, I'm open to them being brought into your chambers and they can speak freely amongst you about their feelings about their dad. And that's all. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Copeland, let me ask you first, what type of current child support are you requesting be ordered?
Sir, that'll be at your discretion. I have no clue. I'll be honest, my thoughts haven't ever been about asking for money from him. So I would not even know. Like I said, the main concern of which I never asked for money was because the only reason he hasn't ever provided any thus far is because it demanded that he wanted to have visitation with the kids. I have anything at this point would be welcome, but not at the mercy of the safety of my kids.
All right. Mr. Law, any final summation?
No, sir.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm going to make one more request. Just based on the testimony here today, I'm requesting that both parties' information be not disclosed in a court order.
All right. By their information, you are referring to addresses and
Addresses, social security numbers, and telephone numbers.
right. I have no problems in granting that request. Mr. Copeland, I meant to ask you a question earlier. Why did you leave B&S Woodworking in December?
You mean Mr. Law?
I apologize to you, sir. I do mean Mr. Law. I apologize.
I left B&S because of some workplace strife.
And you indicated you had some other prospects.
Yes, sir.
And when do you anticipate that coming to fruition?
I was told and look very optimistic for that happening sometime this week. I was told this morning by the state that they got my application, but they haven't started the interview process. and I interviewed last week for the forklift job for a private company. And I was told that sometime this week they would be getting back through their hiring process.
And
Within the next 2 weeks, for sure, I should have something, Your Honor.
what were those jobs going to be paying you?
One was 13 an hour, and then the state, it was something like between 13 and 13 or 2,200, something like that.
And what would you be doing for the state?
Plumbing, maintenance, things like that, sir.
And which agency of the state would you be employed with?
It would be I'm not sure exactly how to answer that.
Who would you be working for?
Does she have to know that, Your Honor? Because when she knows where I'm working, she calls and harasses me and harasses my employers. I had talked to Miss Scott about this also.
All right. I'm good with that. Ms. Scott, do you have your calculator available to you? Your child support?
I do, Your Honor.
Calculate on a gross of $2,253 per month.
Your Honor, if the state has its request for $50 medical support ordered, that would be $476 per month.
For 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
And how much for one? Step down in case of emancipation.
$380.
Okay. All right. I find I enter an order establishing the parent-child relationship, finding that Mr. Law is the father of the children subject to this suit. I appoint Ms. Copeland as the sole managing conservator. Mr. Law is appointed as the possessory conservator. The request for retroactive child support is denied. The court finding that Mr. Law has made actual contributions through the Walmart pay system of $19,579 since 2018, and that for that reason I'm not ordering retroactive child support. I find that Mr. Law is capable of earning $13 an hour in full-time employment, and that current child support should be set at $476 per month, with for 2 children, $380 for one, that he should be ordered to pay $50 per month in medical reimbursement, cash medical reimbursement. Mr. Copeland, Mr. Law, I'm going to grant Ms. Copeland's request that access be dependent upon you returning to this court and showing an ability to I'm going to say psychologically provide safety for the children. I'm not real sure how that or what form that would take, but until that time, I'm not going to grant access to the children. If you can I would need something from a counselor, a psychologist, a licensed professional counselor, an LPC, or someone of that ilk who advises the court that they have seen you, they're confident that you have been able to manage your own psychological well-being, and that you've continued to do so for a sufficient length of time, and I don't think that has to be long, to warrant access with the children. And so at this point in time, access is denied. That, Mr. Law, that will necessarily mean you will have to come back to court. I would anticipate that you would want to have
I've already got counselors, Your Honor. That's fine. I love the boys.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'll find a way to get the counseling that will be sufficient for the court to show that I have the mental capacity to care for the kids.
Okay.
Fine.
Very good. Then, Ms. Scott, you'll draw an order. Those will be the orders of the court. We'll be in recess. Thank you.
Thank you.